What's up, everybody? Just got a hold of the new Kreator album, Gods of Violence, and listened through it a couple times, so I figured I'd do a little quick review of it and give my thoughts. And yeah, it is solid. Solid from beginning to end. If you were really a big fan of Phantom Antichrist and what Kreator's kind of doing now, where they're blending their old style with more melodic elements, then yeah, this album is going to be right up your alley. It's kind of like they took their original style, added in, incorporated in some of the elements more from like German power metal and maybe even melodic death metal. Kind of mixed it all in together and came up with a pretty damn good formula, to say the least. So there are 11 tracks total on the album. The first one is an intro type instrumental track. Total running time is just under 52 minutes. So yeah, you've got some songs that have plenty of time to build up and develop. And in some cases, with some thrash bands, I'm looking at bands like, Slayer, that kind of song length can lead to just, monotonous repetition. But Kreator, like I said, they've been able to take the thrashy riffs, the more headbanging stuff, incorporate melodies, more of the sing-along kind of arena power metal type choruses and whatnot that are definitely made to be heard live. The solos are really good. Usually that's another problem I have with some of the thrash, is that, they rely far too much on just on a whammy bar type stuff and just, trying to do something crazy. But this is, there's some technicality and some interesting ideas going on in these songs when it comes to solos and melodies and stuff. So they've definitely evolved as a band in a good direction. So yeah, this is... I have no real complaints about the album whatsoever. There aren't really any weak tracks. The album, or the track Satan is Real, is probably the weak one, but it's nothing really that bad about it. I just, it was one that I just kind of skipped over because I didn't really think it was all that great. But yeah, as far as the rest, I would say if I were to narrow it down to maybe like my top 5 favorites that are on the album would be World War Now, Gods of Violence, Army of Storms, Hail to the Hordes, and Totalitarian Terror would probably be the ones, as far as, they get the most metal, headbanging, heavy stuff that's also incorporated some of the better elements of the melodic. And yeah, like the Gods of Violence, the guitar solo on that, I was really kind of blown away with how well it was put together. Like I said, if the soloing is more generic on an album, but the riffing, the rhythm stuff and all that is killer, then, I'm not going to really complain that much. But got the solo, especially on Gods of Violence, was something is memorable, which for a lot of thrash bands is something that you don't really find. And actually, the another interesting thing, which I was talking more about the melodic elements, is the last track, Death Becomes My Light. It actually has a really strong Iron Maiden vibe to it, which is pretty cool. It starts out acoustically with some clean vocals, then breaks into a kind of a gallop, type of riff that you would hear on some of the older Iron Maiden stuff. The riffs, yeah, I mean, you could definitely tell. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but you definitely could tell that they were channeling Iron Maiden, but it's a little bit heavier, because it's Kreator. So yeah, that's an awesome way to finish the track. It's about a little over 7 minutes, but yeah, it keeps your attention. And for a thrash band to put out an album that's at this length, and keep your attention and keep you interested in it is it says a lot. And especially if they've been around since '82, I think, is when Kreator first started out, and they kind of went through in the '90s. They kind of went through a period where they were having a hard time finding their I guess their style, or their new involved version of their style, and kind of stagnated for a while. But once 2000, 2001 came around, they've gotten back into it and have been great ever since. So yeah, if you get to see these guys live playing tracks off this album, I can imagine them playing at Wacken or Bloodstock or another big festival, and getting to hear them play a full set would be pretty kick-ass. I mean, they can, just with the last few albums they put out, they have plenty of material. Plus, the classics, that they always throw in. So yeah, and also mention is the album art is brutal as hell. Yeah, I'll definitely be picking up a T-shirt when they come out, because it's sick. Album cover, I'll probably be including it as the main art for the channel for the video background, so you guys can take a look at it. But yeah, it's pretty wicked. And it looks like they are also, other than just releasing the standard version, there's a 3 CD version that's also available, that has the live at Wacken 2014 full concert. Looks like there's like 14 tracks. So yeah, the stuff from Phantom Antichrist and some of the older stuff. And a alternative version which has 5 tracks, which are actually off of Gods of Violence, World War Now, Satan is Real, Gods of Violence, Lion with Eagle Wings, and Death Becomes My Life. I'm assuming, yeah, they're just, either, they're not like remixes, but they're probably just alternative versions of it. I guess that's pretty self-explanatory. I haven't listened to those yet, so I can't really say. Maybe the Satan is Real version on that one's better than the one on the album, but like I said, yeah, if I don't know, I'm not a big fan of giving like number ratings on albums, because it's always has to be taken within a certain context. But I could give an album a 9 out of 10, but is that within the genre of heavy metal? Is it that specifically within the genre of thrash metal? Is that metal overall or music overall? But I would say if you're looking in just thrash metal and metal in that kind of style period, then yeah, I would give it a 8.5 or 9 out of 10. They definitely aren't suffering from what I like to call the Iron Maiden syndrome, which is basically you put out music that is solid as far as the quality, and it's something that that you're continuously putting out, so people can expect a high level quality, but the ideas are not really changing much, which I guess you could call that the AC/DC syndrome also. But yeah, there's none of that here. It's I'm a fan of Kreator, but I'm not a huge fan compared to some of the other bands, and so I figured, I'll probably be solid, I'll listen to it, and then back in the collection it goes, and maybe take it out every once in a while and listen to it. But no, I'm going to have this playing for in my car definitely till I get sick of it. So that's always a good stamp of approval of how solid the album is. So yeah, go out and buy yourself a copy of it. Support the band. I'm not sure. I haven't looked to see if there's any future tour dates up for to support the album, but I imagine they will be, because bands like this love to tour, no matter, it seems how many years that go by, and they're out there hitting the road and playing shows, which, you have to definitely give them a thumbs up for that. Because I've seen them live once a few years back, and it was a great show, even though, like I said, I probably mentioned in my other heavy metal video that the metal scene in Seattle and the support for metal bands in Seattle is a fucking joke. So just another reason why I hate King County. But anyway, let's not get off track off of the review. But yeah, that's about it. Pick it up if you're a metal fan in general, and especially those that that just the new Metallica album came out, and oh god, Metallica's they're back, and oh, this is so great. Now this album by Kreator wipes the floor with anything Metallica's done shit since Master of Puppets, as far as I'm concerned. It's it may not have the nostalgia value of And Justice for All, but as far as the quality of the music goes, it's up there. So yeah. Same with the new Slayer. The new Slayer, I wasn't all that a fan of. It seemed like they were just kind of regurgitating the same shit and expecting people to think it was something great and new. But yeah, definitely has my approval. Go out and buy it, and I'll see you guys in the next album review video.